At 91 years old, I've learned a few uncomfortable truths. But the one that seems to surprise people the most is this. I have a better memory than my own grandchildren. I'm not talking about remembering the war or the price of bread in 1955. I'm talking about remembering where I put my keys this morning, the name of the new neighbor I met yesterday, or the 3 items my daughter asked me to pick up from the store. My grandson, a brilliant young man with a fancy phone that holds the world's knowledge, can't seem to remember a verbal grocery list to save his life. He laughs it off. "I've got a lot on my mind, Grandpa," he says. But the truth is, we've been sold a terrible lie about aging and memory. We're told that forgetting is just a part of getting older, a gentle, inevitable fading. Here's what really happens. That gentle fading can quietly, subtly, turn into a steep, terrifying slide. The reality is, those small memory lapses we dismiss today can become the devastating gaps that steal our independence tomorrow. This isn't just about misplacing your glasses. This is about the fear of becoming a burden, the loss of respect from those who start to see you as fragile, and the heartbreaking possibility of one day not recognizing the faces you love. This could be you. It could be the person you love sitting next to you. And people notice these little slips, even if they're too polite to say anything. But what if I told you it doesn't have to be this way? In this video, I'm going to share with you the things no one tells you about protecting your mind. I'll give you the practical solutions I've used myself to keep my mind sharp and clear, and show you how you can transform your own cognitive health. Stay until the end, because I am going to reveal the exact 30-second brain trick I use every single day. A simple, powerful technique that is the cornerstone of my mental clarity. It's something anyone can learn, and it can start making a difference immediately. Point number 1. The great lie of inevitable decline. We're taught to accept that our minds will crumble with age. But this belief is the most dangerous saboteur of your cognitive health. It makes you passive when you should be fighting. Take my old friend George. George was a sharp, witty man, a retired engineer who could build anything. Around his 78th birthday, he started becoming more forgetful. He'd lose his train of thought mid-sentence or forget appointments. "Well, what do you expect? I'm an old man," he'd say with a sad smile. He accepted it. His family accepted it. They started doing things for him, making decisions for him, treating him like he was already gone. If you ignore the possibility of improvement and just surrender, you create a self-fulfilling prophecy. Your world shrinks, your confidence plummets, and your brain, starved of challenge and engagement, truly does begin to weaken. Fortunately, the good news is that your brain is not a block of concrete that sets in your 20s. Medical research indicates it's more like clay. It can be reshaped. This is called neuroplasticity. The solution is to first, fundamentally reject the lie. You have to believe that change is possible. Second, start with small mental workouts. Do the crossword puzzle, but try to do it faster than yesterday. Learn one new word from the dictionary each day. Third, and this is crucial, tell someone. Vocalize your intent. Tell your spouse or your child, "I am actively working to keep my mind sharp." This creates accountability and shifts the narrative from "poor old dad" to "wow, dad is really taking control." This small shift in mindset is the foundation upon which everything else is built. Now let's move forward to what actively works against that foundation. Point number 2. The silent saboteur of chronic stress. We often think of stress as a heart-pounding, deadline-driven panic. But for many of us, the most damaging stress is a quiet, constant hum in the background. It's the worry about our children's lives, the anxiety over rising bills, the low-grade fear that comes from watching the nightly news, or the subtle loneliness that can creep in. This chronic, low-level stress is a hidden danger. It quietly releases a hormone called cortisol, which, over time, acts like a slow-acting poison to the hippocampus, the brain's memory center. It literally eats away at your ability to form and retrieve memories. I remember my neighbor, Margaret. At 82, she was a wonderful woman, but a professional worrier. She worried about her health, her finances, her grandkids on the other side of the country. She started having troubling memory lapses, leaving the stove on, missing medication doses. She was terrified she was developing dementia. The consequences of this silent stress are devastating. It creates a vicious cycle. You worry, which raises your cortisol, which impairs your memory, which gives you more to worry about. You become trapped in a fog of anxiety and forgetfulness, losing your confidence and joy. The problem is, you can't just stop worrying. The solution insight is to manage the body's reaction to the worry. First, practice what I call structured worry time. Give yourself 15 minutes a day, say at 4 p.m., to actively think about all your worries. When a worry pops up at another time, tell yourself, I'll deal with you at 4. This sounds simple, but it helps contain the anxiety. Second, learn a simple, 60-second breathing exercise. Inhale slowly through your nose for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, and exhale slowly through your mouth for 6 seconds. Do this 5 times. This simple action has been shown by researchers to interrupt the cortisol response and calm the nervous system. Third, find a physical outlet. It doesn't have to be running a marathon. It can be kneading dough, weeding a garden, or even just pacing in your living room while listening to music. The physical motion helps to dissipate the nervous energy that fuels the stress. Margaret started with the breathing, then took up gardening. The change wasn't overnight, but within a few months, the fog began to lift. She was calmer, and her memory, while not perfect, was significantly more reliable. She took back control from the silent saboteur. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. Your engagement really helps us understand what's resonating with you. Point number 3, the overlooked power of active observation. Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you went in there? Or put your glasses down and had no memory of doing so 2 minutes later? This isn't always a memory problem. It's an attention problem. We spend so much of our lives on autopilot, performing routine tasks without being mentally present. This is a huge, overlooked blind spot in our fight for mental clarity. The brain doesn't bother to form a strong memory of something it didn't consciously register in the first place. Let's look at someone like Eleanor, a 75-year-old retired librarian. She was sharp as a tack when it came to books and history, but she was constantly misplacing her purse, her keys, her phone. It drove her to distraction and made her feel frail and incompetent. She lived in a state of low-grade panic, always searching for something. What she didn't realize was that she was performing these actions, placing her keys on the counter, setting her purse on a chair, while her mind was a million miles away, thinking about her grocery list or a phone call she needed to make. The consequence of living on autopilot is that you start to distrust your own mind. You feel chaotic and out of control, and it erodes your sense of self-sufficiency. It's a small thing that has a massive emotional impact. The solution is to practice what I call active observation. It's a simple shift from passive action to conscious engagement. Here's how to do it. First, when you perform a key action, like putting down your keys, take 1 extra second to be a witness. Look at the keys on the hook. Say to yourself, either out loud or in your head, I am hanging my keys on the hook by the door. This act of narration forces your brain to pay attention and create a specific memory trace. Second, link the action to a sensory detail. Notice the cold clink of the keys on the metal hook. Notice the dark wood of the table where you place your glasses. This adds another layer to the memory, making it richer and easier to retrieve. Third, practice this with mundane tasks. When you turn off the coffee pot, consciously look at the switch in the off position. When you lock the door, consciously feel the deadbolt click into place. Eleanor started doing this. It felt silly at first, talking to herself about her keys. But within a week, the frantic searching stopped. She wasn't just saving time. She was restoring her faith in her own mind. She regained a sense of calm and control that had been missing for years. This simple habit of paying attention is a crucial stepping stone to the more powerful trick I'll share with you soon. Point number 4, the nutritional blind spots that fog your brain. We all know we should eat our fruits and vegetables. That's old news. But what they don't tell you is that as we age, our bodies become less efficient at absorbing certain key nutrients from our food, and deficiencies in these specific nutrients can directly mimic the symptoms of age-related cognitive decline. It's a huge blind spot for many people and their doctors. You can be eating a perfectly healthy diet and still be starving your brain of what it needs most. Take the story of Harold, an 84-year-old former accountant who had always been meticulous and detail-oriented. He started feeling a persistent brain fog. He struggled with simple calculations, couldn't focus on his newspaper, and felt unusually tired and apathetic. His family was deeply concerned, whispering about dementia. Harold was terrified he was losing the very essence of who he was, his sharp mind. The problem was, Harold had developed a severe vitamin B12 deficiency, which is incredibly common in older adults because stomach acid, needed for absorption, often decreases with age. The consequences of ignoring these nutritional blind spots can be devastating. You could spend years thinking you have an irreversible brain disease when you actually have a correctable nutritional issue. This can lead to unnecessary anxiety, depression, and even a premature loss of independence. The solution insight is to become a detective about your own nutrition. First, and this is essential, talk to your doctor. Ask for a blood test to check your levels of key brain nutrients, specifically vitamin B12, vitamin D, and magnesium. Don't just assume they are fine. It's important to consult with healthcare providers before making any major changes. Second, educate yourself on brain-healthy foods beyond the obvious. We know about blueberries for antioxidants, but what about walnuts and flax seeds for omega-3 fatty acids, which are the literal building blocks of brain cells? Or leafy greens like spinach and kale for folate and vitamin K. Third, consider how you eat. Instead of 3 large meals, some research suggests that smaller, more frequent meals can help maintain stable blood sugar levels, preventing the energy crashes that contribute to brain fog. Harold's doctor identified his B12 deficiency. With supplementation and dietary changes, the transformation was remarkable. Within 2 months, Harold said it felt like a light had been switched on in his head. The fog lifted, his energy returned, and he was back to correcting the math on his son's tax forms. He hadn't been losing his mind. He had just been running on an empty tank. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos that can provide you with more insights like these. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Point number 5, the social lifeline your brain desperately needs. There's a quiet epidemic that is as damaging to your brain as smoking 15 cigarettes a day: loneliness. We often think of loneliness as just a sad feeling, but medical research has shown it has a profound physical impact on the brain. When we are isolated, our brains are deprived of the complex stimulation that comes from genuine human interaction, reading facial expressions, understanding tone of voice, engaging in the give and take of conversation. This lack of stimulation can lead to a measurable shrinking of brain volume. I remember my friend Carl, a 79-year-old man whose wife, Helen, passed away after 55 years of marriage. He was heartbroken. He shut himself away in his house, refusing invitations from friends and family. He said he just wanted to be left alone. He wasn't just sad. His world was contracting. He stopped reading, stopped working in his woodshop, and spent his days in front of the television. His memory, which had always been fine, started to fail him in noticeable ways. He'd forget entire conversations he'd had on the phone just hours earlier. What Carl didn't realize is that social connection is not a luxury. It's essential brain exercise. The consequences of ignoring this are severe. It accelerates cognitive decline, increases the risk of depression, and creates a downward spiral where memory loss leads to less confidence, which leads to more isolation, which leads to more memory loss. It's a trap that is tragically easy to fall into. But there is hope, and the solution isn't just getting out more. It's about finding meaningful engagement. First, find a purpose-driven social activity. Volunteering is incredibly powerful. Reading to children at the local library, helping at an animal shelter, or answering phones for a local charity gives you a reason to get up and engage. It shifts the focus from your own loss to the needs of others. Second, prioritize intergenerational connections. Spending time with younger people, grandchildren, neighbors, students, forces your brain to work differently. They talk about different things, use different slang, and have different perspectives. It's a potent form of mental gymnastics. Third, embrace technology to bridge distances. Learning to use a video call service to see your grandkids' faces, not just hear their voices, provides a much richer, more neurologically stimulating connection. Carl's daughter finally convinced him to volunteer at a local tool library, where people could borrow tools and get advice on projects. He was hesitant, but the first time someone asked his advice on a woodworking project, something sparked. He was needed. He had wisdom to share. He started going twice a week. The conversations, the problem-solving, The simple act of being valued for his knowledge brought him back to life. His memory improved because his brain was once again engaged, challenged, and connected. If you've made it this far, you're clearly committed to protecting your mind. To let me know you're still with me on this important journey, please comment number 5 below. It's wonderful to know who is part of this community. Now let's move forward to the moment you've been waiting for. Point number 6. My 30-second brain trick that changed everything. For years, I've been talking about the pillars of brain health: mindset, stress, observation, nutrition, connection. But there is one specific technique, a mental habit, that ties it all together. It's the secret weapon I use dozens of times a day, and it is, without a doubt, the single biggest reason my memory feels as sharp today as it did 50 years ago. My grandchildren are amazed by it, but it's not magic. It's a simple, repeatable process that anyone can learn in under a minute, but it takes about 30 seconds to execute effectively each time. I call it the vivid snapshot technique. It's a simplified, practical version of an ancient memory method called the memory palace, adapted for the real world. The problem it solves is the fleeting, weak nature of most of our daily memories. We put our wallet on the nightstand, but the memory is thin, like a faint pencil sketch, and easily erased. This trick turns that faint sketch into a bright, bold, unforgettable painting. Here's how it works, step by step. Let's say you just met a new neighbor, and her name is Carol. The old way is to say, "Nice to meet you, Carol," and hope the name sticks. It probably won't. With the vivid snapshot, you take 30 seconds. First, for about 10 seconds, you anchor the new information to something you already know. In this case, the name Carol. Immediately think of A Christmas Carol. Second, for the next 15 seconds, you create a vivid, absurd, multi-sensory image connecting the new information to the anchor. Don't just picture Carol. Picture her standing on her front lawn, wearing a ridiculous Santa hat, and loudly singing "Deck the Halls" completely out of tune. See the image in your mind. Hear her terrible singing. Feel the secondhand embarrassment. The more absurd and emotional the image, the better. The brain is wired to remember things that are unusual and emotionally charged. A handshake is boring. A woman singing Christmas carols in July is unforgettable. Third, for the final 5 seconds, you consciously lock in the image. You take a mental snapshot of that ridiculous scene. Now, the name Carol is no longer a floating, abstract sound. It's permanently linked to a bizarre, memorable story. The next time you see her, your brain won't just search for a name. It will instantly retrieve the image of the woman in the Santa hat, and you'll know her name is Carol. Let me give you another example. Where did you park the car? Instead of just getting out, take 30 seconds. Look at the section number, say C4. Now, create a vivid snapshot. Imagine a giant, powerful sea rain lifting 4 noisy, squawking sea chickens out of your parking spot. See the crane. Hear the chickens. Feel the absurdity. Snapshot. That memory is now rock solid. This technique works because it engages multiple parts of your brain: your visual cortex, your auditory centers, your emotional centers, and it forces you to practice the active observation we talked about earlier. It transforms a passive act into an active, creative one. It's a 30-second workout for your brain that you can do anywhere, anytime. It's the core practice that allows me to remember names, lists, facts, and where I left my darn reading glasses. Point number 7. Weaving the trick into your daily fabric. Knowing the 30-second vivid snapshot trick is one thing. Turning it into an automatic, life-changing habit is another. The goal is to make it as natural as breathing, so you're constantly building these strong, resilient memory pathways without even thinking about it. This is where you move from just preventing decline to actively building a superior memory. It's about taking the technique and applying it systematically to the most common areas of memory failure. Let's take the story of my dear friend, Richard. At 80, he was frustrated. He loved to read, but would forget the plot of a book from one day to the next. He would make a mental shopping list and arrive at the store with only 1 or 2 items in his mind. He felt his world was becoming foggy and unreliable. He learned the vivid snapshot trick, but struggled to apply it consistently. The solution is to practice with intention in 3 key areas. First, your daily placement memories. This is for your keys, wallet, phone, and glasses. For 1 week, every single time you put one of these items down, You must perform a 30-second snapshot. No exceptions. If you put your glasses on the kitchen counter, imagine the glasses are doing a little dance next to a giant, talking banana on the counter. It's ridiculous, but you will never forget where you put them. This intense, one-week boot camp builds the neural pathway for the habit. Second, use it for lists and errands. Need to buy milk, eggs, and bread? Don't write it down. Create a single, bizarre story. Picture a giant bottle of milk pouring all over a hen that is laying square, bread-shaped eggs. See that crazy image in your mind. When you get to the store, you just have to recall one image, and the 3 items will be there. It's far more efficient than trying to remember 3 separate, disconnected things. Third, apply it to names and faces, which is the hardest for most people. When you meet Bill, picture him trying to pay for his coffee with a giant $100 bill. When you meet Susan, picture her being lazy, a lazy Susan, spinning around on a turntable. Yes, it's silly, but respect is remembering someone's name. This trick is a tool for showing that respect. Richard started by focusing only on his glasses for 1 week. Then he moved to his shopping lists. It took about a month of conscious effort, but the habit began to stick. He started enjoying it, treating it like a creative game. He regained his love of reading because he could now create snapshots for key plot points. He felt more confident, more engaged, and more in control of his own mind than he had in a decade. He didn't just stop the decline, he reversed it. He turned a trick into a powerful, lifelong skill. Now that we've covered these crucial points, from shattering the myth of decline to the practical power of the vivid snapshot, take a moment to reflect on your own beliefs about your mind and your memory. Have you been passively accepting forgetfulness as your fate? Or do you feel a new sense of possibility? I want you to know that you have control. These things are not set in stone. Your brain is a dynamic, living part of you that responds to how you treat it. Small changes, like practicing active observation or creating one vivid snapshot a day, can make big differences over time. All these points are connected by one powerful, overarching theme: conscious, active engagement with your life. Whether it's managing your stress, connecting with others, paying attention to your food, or actively creating memories, the secret is to stop being a passenger in your own life and to take the driver's seat of your own mind. You have lived through enough to know that your wisdom and your experiences are precious. Protecting the mind that holds them is not a luxury. It is your right and your responsibility. You deserve to live with dignity, clarity, and confidence for all the years to come. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.